Welcome back to the Live Your Best Life podcast, where we explore the people, experiences, and philosophies shaping success and meaning in today's world. Today, we're joined by nutritionist Aaron Centofanti. He cuts through diet noise with science, experience, and intention. Aaron earned his bachelor's degree in nutritional sciences from Michigan State University and his master's from the University of Texas, Austin. We explore best practices in nutrition, popular diet trends, and how purpose plays a role in sustainable health. Let's dig in, because how we fuel our bodies shapes how we live. Well, welcome to the show, Aaron. I appreciate you being here. We have Aaron Centofanti. He is a private health coach with us today, and looking forward to having a conversation. One, getting to know what you do on a daily basis and how you can help our listeners out, and then also providing us with the important information that our listeners are going to need to better their current health situation, nutrition, and hopefully live a lot longer.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely.
It is, honestly, it's an honor to be here. I know this is a relatively new podcast, but I admire you. I admire everything you've built here. And that's kind of I wouldn't necessarily say the blueprint, but the way you operate is the blueprint. So thank you, first of all. And with that, yes, I am a private health coach. I work with everybody. So it could be weight loss, it could be longevity, it could be anything, right?
Okay.
If you have a specific goal, I can help you get there, right?
What made you get into nutrition and health? Was it, growing up? Is that something you always wanted to do, or it was just, it just always intrigued you?
Yeah. I think as a early teenager, I had put on a little bit of weight. Okay. And I kind of had parents that were always dieting. Uh-huh. And I think you just, as a kid, you realize maybe they don't have it exactly right, or maybe the Atkins diet isn't the healthiest thing.
Sure.
So I think I just had a very early awareness. I was doing a lot of my own research in high school. My side job, I was a personal trainer.
Okay.
So that's kind of where it started. Been a student, of nutrition since I was 13, and it's just a natural fit. I love talking about it. It's a joy that I get to talk about this every day. And I apologize. I'm also just kind of settling in now, realizing I can breathe out into the microphone. So
you're fine. What's crazy is when we start talking about investments, right? There's probably 30,000 investments out there. There's 30,000 diets and nutrition. And when you think about it with YouTube, with Google, with ChatGPT, with these Facebook Reels, it's who do I listen to? Where am I getting this information from? How valid is this information? Is this good information? Is this the right diet for me? Are these the right exercises for me? Yep. And even myself, I go to the gym probably 5 to 7 days a week. I could go on there and I'm like, should I be doing this exercise this way or that way, right? Mm-hmm. And so how do we take that information and decipher what's right for us?
Yeah. I think Let's take a step back. The mindset we should approach all of this with is, what do I need as an individual? My needs are different than yours. Your needs are different than your wife's, right? So you want to think about yourself as an individual and not, let's say, the keto diet is going to work for me, or the, eating vegan is going to be the best thing for my body.
So one size doesn't fit all.
No. And it's probably going to be a combination of things that's going to be the best thing for you. So with that framing, right, when you're looking at something, is it right for me? And then, kind of deciphering things. I think that's where, obviously that's a lot of what I do day to day, is kind of help somebody just parse through the noise.
Very similar to what we do on a daily basis.
Exactly.
I mean, one investment isn't the right investment for everyone, or someone might need tax planning more than income planning or vice versa. And you're doing the same thing that we're doing. You're trying to figure out what's going to be right for this particular individual. And it may not even be right for the next family member, let alone anyone else, right?
Exactly.
Just got to match up what's going to work for them, their body type, their metabolism, and everything else.
That's where I want to be very careful villainizing any type of diet, right?
Yeah.
I think, we've seen the rise of carnivore, and there's a lot of pushback. There's a lot of reasons why that might be dangerous, but again, person to person, there's definitely people out there that are finding benefits from it. So you don't want to discount that. It's just that individual needed either some sort of elimination diet, or they do better processing more protein, whatever it is. We need to figure out how you operate and then build off of that. So it is going to be a lot more work at the beginning, right? When you're kind of resetting the system and figuring out.
Building the foundation of a house, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe the bigger difference in, the financial world and kind of what I do is we have to do a lot more trial and error, right? You can't really know if a diet is working one day. You can't really know if a supplement is working, taking it one day. I mean, you may feel the effect, but all of that to say, we just want to be focused on you, what you need, and what your goal is, and then let's bridge that gap. So we do have to do more trial and error just to see what your body responds to, but that I think that's fun, right? I love the self-experimentation.
It's like a chemist.
Yeah. I love getting into the chemistry of it too, because it makes sense, and it explains. It explains so much, but we don't have to get into all that.
Yeah, it's like me and my son, and I've probably been working out since I was like 13.
Okay.
And I was a very hard gainer. I was probably like 160 pounds soaking wet in high school, played hockey, and worked out all the time, but really wasn't gaining the muscle that I should have been. But I wasn't nearly taking in even enough protein to even build muscle.
Yeah.
So a lot of that goes into it, right? I mean, we're training wrong, we're eating wrong. So really, I guess let's start with nutrition, because I think nutrition's the key in making sure we have proper nutrition before we even get into weight planning. It's funny because while I was working out this morning in the gym, I was listening to one of the, I won't say necessarily nutrition coach, but he's one of the guys I follow. He's, a guy, ex-bodybuilder, let's say.
Who is it? Do you want me to ask him?
I can't even think of his name. You asked me, trust me, I'm trying to think of what is, Mike O'Hearn.
Oh,
Mike
okay.
O'Hearn.
Yeah.
He was Gladiator in the show that was on TV.
Yep.
So one of the Gladiators, whatever. So I was listening to him, and he goes, when someone comes to me and they want me to put a bodybuilding program for them together, he's like, I tell them, I won't even touch that yet until you figure out your nutrition. If you're not going to eat right, all this work that we're going to do, you're not going to reap the benefits and the rewards that you should if you're not eating right. So go home and figure out your nutrition. When you get that done, then you come back to me and I'll help you out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we don't have the base right, again, I'm thinking of nutrition as setting the stage for everything else, right? If you don't have the correct substrate to build, that nothing else on top of that's really going to matter. So, especially with exercise, you don't have enough protein and you're breaking down your muscles through exercise. You have nothing to replace the muscle that you've broken down. Then you're just atrophying. So that's more an example of why we have to get your specific nutrition plan right first, and then we can start stacking things on top of that. So that's
the biggest issue you see when people coming in to get advice.
I think there's just so many misconceptions too around diets. Like Like we talked about with carnivore, that's not necessarily one I'm going to first recommend. But if somebody's telling me they're doing something carnivore adjacent and they're finding, that they're gaining weight, really whatever diet you're following or however you are eating, we can kind of take that snapshot at the beginning. And what I like to do is add foods first. So rather than removing anything, we're going to start adding more protein. We're going to start adding more vegetables. I don't want you to take anything out of your current diet. Keep eating how you are. We're not trying to do a huge drastic change. It's just what needs to be added into this to make sure your base is set.
That makes a lot of sense, because I think the easiest thing would be, let's scrap this and let's jump to the next one.
Yeah.
And you don't know, that one might be the right one for you, but you're, like you said, you either have to add or subtract something out of there.
Absolutely. And yeah, I go with adding first, because, when you make a good decision or when you eat something, that you feel good about, that you had a arugula salad with some lean chicken, right? Maybe not the tastiest thing in the world.
Sure.
Let's be honest, but you feel good after it because you made a good decision, and you're more likely to make a good decision in the future on top of that. So these things do compound, and that's why, again, I'm just saying, generally starting out, we're going to start adding things first. And then kind of naturally, the bad things or the things that are not helping you in your life are going to start kind of fading out, because, you're not going to have enough room in your stomach, and
Sure.
You're just not going to feel as good on those. You're going to start noticing how good you feel when you find the right foods. So,
And it's a hard switch, because realistically, we should be eating to fuel our body. There's a purpose for eating.
Yeah.
But we look at how it tastes. Trust me, I love food.
Me too.
But it's that switch. I've got to remember, why am I eating?
Yeah.
And there's a time to enjoy the food that you're eating, or those extra sweets or anything else. But when we fail to realize why we're eating, we're just eating for enjoyment, then we get to the situation where now we need to have a personal coach. And trust me, I'm all in on personal coaches. We have several different personal coaches we use for our business. And it's funny, because one day I was sitting, I think I was in one of these financial seminars, workshops, whatever.
Yeah.
And I heard a guy that was he actually was Michael Jordan's nutrition coach.
Okay.
And he was talking about Michael Jordan. He said, there's a reason why Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player ever, is because he's in the gym when people are leaving. He's in the gym before people get there, right? He's shooting thousands of free throws or three-pointers, but he also has a coach to help him out mentally. He's got a coach for physical fitness. He's got a coach for nutrition. He's got a coach for this. He's got a coach for that. And you start realizing, like, I actually need a coach for business, or I need a coach for marketing.
Yeah.
I need a coach for physical fitness. I need a coach for nutrition. And this is why I think it's a great thing that you're doing, but a lot of us may not be willing to jump in and admit that I need a personal coach. And not saying there's anything wrong with you, just need a little bit of help, right?
Yeah.
Figure out what's right for me, because so far what I've been doing hasn't been working.
Yeah.
And
and I mean, sometimes it's just getting an outside perspective. Like, when you're looking at yourself, there's going to be huge blind spots. You're not going to be aware
Absolutely.
of, maybe
not
why
willing to admit it either.
Yeah, right. So, first of all, it's that, but if you ever played sports growing up, right, you had a coach, you had somebody to help you along the way. You didn't even realize it, but they're helping with your psychology too, like you said. So, when it comes to health, I just think it has to be the top priority, right? Now, again, this is coming from me. I'm obviously biased. Yeah. I'm opinionated, but if health is not the top priority. What is, and why? And why is health taking a back seat? So,
especially if we want to live longer.
Yeah. I mean, and let me define longevity too.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I want to be clear when we're talking about it. When we're talking about longevity, we're talking about the quality, the capacity to age and live well, distinct from biological age, right? So we're talking about adding functional years. We're talking about adding years where, you're moving and you're feeling good like you are right now, rather than simply adding years. Would you want to live to 200 if from 100 to 200 you're in a nursing home?
Yeah.
No, I mean, like what would be the point of that, right? So we just need to, there's a lot of philosophical questions mixed in with this, but we just ultimately need to think about the quality when it comes to longevity. We're often thinking about just adding years.
But do you think most people aren't thinking that way? Like, I love life.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, Jill, we love life. I went through my wife, losing my wife, Amy, at such an early age, right? So I look at, if I'm not doing everything I can do to stay on this earth, I'm doing a disservice for her who can't be here, right?
Yeah.
So I look at, I'm going to enjoy every day like it's my last day. I want to biohack my body if possibly, right, to live longer.
Yeah.
As long as I'm healthy and I can enjoy life.
Yes.
Now, this is something that's very interesting to me, because this I've dug into, and I know me and you've had several talks about this, and you could see Gary Brecka, you could see all these different people because they're out there right now on this social media and different things that you could do. One of the things I think was interesting that he said, like, if you just wake up in the morning and do breathing exercises, he says you could add up to 7 years onto your life potentially.
Yeah.
Just by doing breathing exercises outside and getting fresh oxygen in your lungs.
That is, so I hear that and I immediately think that is it's a stress reliever. It's a great way to start your day so that you're not kind of compounding your stress and it's just, spiraling out of control throughout the day. So anything that's, how do I want to say this? I apologize. I'm
You're good.
Going a couple different ways in my brain right now, but I think just like you have to be very aware and wary of things that you see on social media.
Absolutely.
There is plenty of snake oil still out there.
Yes.
But we kind of are living in the future now where these are the conversations we're going to be having. Right. So I will come back, but just as an example, like my background in weight loss, working at a weight loss clinic, I managed one for a couple of years. It kind of the GLP-1s ultimately made it, I wouldn't say obsolete, but it, the weight loss clinic is there so you have somebody to go talk to, you have somebody to support you through the journey, and with a medication that makes it incredibly easy to lose weight or reduce your appetite, you may feel you don't need that support, or it's just so easy.
You haven't addressed the situation or the problem.
Exactly.
Right? It's like an alcoholic or a drug addict.
Yes.
I've got this problem with my weight or my eating or my lack of exercise that got me into this situation. Never dealt with it. I've taken this drug to lose weight. And then it's probably very easy for someone to say, I'm going to go off this drug, and then all of a sudden start gaining that weight back.
Yes. And that happens often. But I have my own opinions on the GLP-1s. I think
there's probably not a lot of stuff, and I don't know anything about it, but I can't imagine that they've had 20, 30 years of, science behind it.
Yeah, we just don't quite know the long-term effects. I think that's one where you want to be really careful just because we don't have that data.
And it could be great. I mean, obviously it's great, but it's, I won't, and I can't say it's an easy way out, because I'm not saying that. I don't want to offend anyone by saying taking this is an easy way out, but I think it's a mixture of both, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, this is the way you want to think, right? It's if the risk of, potentially passing away from a heart attack, if you can lower that risk with something, that might have other risks associated. Yes. But if you're taking away a known risk, then it's beneficial. So you just have to weigh those things. It is, I hate to say it, but it's all about balance, right? I know that's so cliche, but
that's so popular right now because you see all these actresses and actors and musicians all taking this with massive amounts of weight that they've lost.
Yeah. And again, I think we are advancing at a rapid pace. It's only going to get faster. I think I read the medical knowledge is doubling faster. I mean, it's doubling every 10 years now. Yeah. So we have twice as much medical knowledge as we did 10 years ago. And that's just going to keep accelerating. So we are going to have more conversations around longevity. I'm really interested to get into the philosophical questions around that.
Yeah.
If you could functionally be immortal, would you choose to be? So that's another conversation for another day. But, right now in the present, I think the best thing you can do is work from that cautious kind of standpoint and focus on what you respond well to and what you like. And then we can build off of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if we are living longer, modern medicine, technology, AI, if we are going to live longer, let's say than our parents, brothers, sisters, whatever, we want to be as healthy as possible. I mean, it's just logical, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen some studies where it was, roughly, and I don't know, so don't quote me on this because I can't remember. I didn't cite the source here. So it said we have a 50% chance today to live to 92, 10% chance to live to 100, a 25% chance that we could live to 97. So we're living a lot longer. One, and this is why health and wealth go so they're so close together here. One, we have to make sure we have enough money to get us to 92, 97, 100, but we also have to have our health to get us there.
Yes.
And if we don't have our health, then we're going to need our money because we're going to be in a nursing home or something else.
Right. And then you've almost devalued your own money because it's now going towards just taking care of your body.
Yes.
So an example I use a lot with my clients is Warren Buffett. So kind of connecting to the financial world here. I saw an interview where he was driving to work and he stops at McDonald's every morning. Depending on where I think the market is in the morning, he either gets, if it's up, he gets his McGriddle. If it's down, he gets the McMuffin. So, but you think about that, and this guy is in his 90s, right?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's really getting up there. He's close to 100, and he's still eating McDonald's breakfast in the morning. I think that the lesson there, the takeaway is if you can keep your stress down,
yes,
that may be more beneficial than a perfect diet.
Yep.
So, I kind of am thinking about nutrition, stress, and exercise as kind of these factors that are equivalent to each other.
Yep.
If you can get one or more of those right, I mean, it's just going to help the other two. So, it's not that we have to get anything perfect either.
Just the right balance.
Yeah. I mean, we want to be working towards that, but I don't know that anybody's going to have their perfect, exact number of grams, exact, number of or amounts of vitamins, but we can strive towards that.
Yeah. And I mean, stress is a killer for anything. In diet for sure, because you get stressed. First thing you're going to do is pick up food and eat it, and then sleep. So, and I'm the first one to admit I don't get enough sleep.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm probably going to bed around 11, waking up at 4. So I probably get 5 hours of sleep
Okay.
a night. And I know there's very few people that can function on that for a long time. But I'll do that for probably a couple weeks, and I'll get one day where I just crash and sleep in on a weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
But what would is it's still our body needs that 8 hours? What do you think?
I think it more matters on the sleep cycles underlying there. So I wear a Fitbit tracker. So overnight, it is kind of tracking my movement and telling me when I'm in deep sleep, when I'm in light sleep, when I'm in REM sleep. I don't think it matters as much necessarily the total time that you're asleep. I think it matters, are you getting enough REM cycles at night to process your memories from the day before? Okay. And are you getting enough deep sleep so that your body can heal from the previous day? Yeah. So that would be something really interesting that we could look at, right?
Yes.
How many REM cycles are you getting? How long are they? How much deep sleep? That matters a lot more, and that's what I track. So if I get 6 or 7 hours versus when I'm getting 5 versus when I'm sleeping in and getting 10.
As long as the REM is good.
Yeah, as long as I've gotten I'm looking for 4 REM cycles. I think that's where I feel the best. Again, this is where it's going to be person to person. You might feel best on 2 REM cycles. You might be able to function on 1, but that's where we need to investigate. And that's really what I'd love to do is we're going to get into everything. We're going to go sleep. What does your refrigerator look like? How is it organized? I want to see everything, and then we can kind of figure it out from there.
So it's not just, hey, Aaron, give me a nutrition diet to follow. Right. You're like, how can I help you?
Right.
I got to get to know you
yes.
on a personal level. I got to get to know your sleep schedule. I got to get to know how's work, how's family going. You're almost, sitting in a therapy session in a way. But if I don't get to know that, or you don't get to know that, you can't tell how stressed they are.
Exactly.
And it could be a perfect diet, but if I have this stress level, it's going to affect me overall.
Right. And on a biochemical level, it literally, the inflammatory markers are going up high enough to where we're just, it's taking away the benefits of like you said, like a perfect diet. It just wouldn't, that is kind of eroding that. So we do want to eventually get all of these things in line, but yeah, stress, I think stress and sleep, if you can get those 2 right, it is easier to eat healthy. Yep. And I put that in air quotes because eating healthy is going to be different for everybody. Yeah. I feel best when I eat oats and yogurt in the morning. I don't
think a lot of people understand the importance of getting the right food at the right time as well.
Timing. Thank you for bringing that up. That is, I don't think I even mentioned that earlier, but timing might be the most important thing when it comes to nutrition. I know we're kind of bouncing around here, but
you're fine.
Something that, one of the first things I'm talking about with clients is like the timing of supplements and the timing of food. If you're taking any medications, that kind of needs to be the first thing we work around, right? Is there any interactions with any specific foods, right? There are a lot of medications that will interact with grapefruit. That's an easy one to avoid. But certain other things like citric acid in general decreases the absorption of a number of medications. That's one where we got to go case by case again, and this is going to take time. So, a normal consultation for me is 2 to 3 hours. When we're really digging into everything, we'll
understanding the medication obviously has got to be one of the top things.
Yes.
What medications are you on? So I could see how this is a 2 to 3 hour consultation because, and we use this all the time. Like, hey, if you have 2 or 3 different advisors, how do I know what the other advisor's doing? And, if I don't know you have this IRA over here and I'm giving you tax advice on the current one you have with me, could throw the other one off, right? So I got to know what medications you're on. I've got to know, what your current nutrition plan is. I've got to know what your current workout schedule is so I can help you out.
I got to know your general schedule. I need to know your wake up time and your bedtime, right? I mean, often that's to eventually work towards resetting your circadian rhythm if you're kind of way off of where you should be. But yeah, that's, I actually talk about this with Hunter a lot too, where I need as much information as possible, because there might be something you think is irrelevant and it ends up putting the whole puzzle together. So, we can get really simple with it too. We can just track, let's say, calories and protein. If you want a very simple way of, let's say, losing weight or gaining muscle, we need to adjust the macros, yes, but protein and calories are ultimately going to dictate a lot, right? So I love getting into all of the rest of it, but like even me today, I am always having that calorie number and that protein number in my head. So I know what I need. I know what I need for the rest of the day. And that's kind of the style of eating that I like. Whereas, again, with timing, you might not feel good eating a meal in the morning. You might feel clearer when you don't eat till noon, right? Doing kind of that intermittent fasting. I think that's great. I actually have used that for myself. I recommend that often. Okay. It's not for everybody, though. If you like a breakfast, if you feel good on breakfast, let's not even mess with it, right?
I think part of that could be, obviously, if you have any kind of medication you're on, then you want to watch intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is mental blocks, right? We have to be stronger mentally. I love the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And I've done it for probably almost a year. And I've taken time off, and I've done it for 3 months, and I've taken a little bit of time off.
Do you mind me asking your window?
Yeah. So I would not eat until 1, and I would stop eating around 6. So about 5 hours.
Okay. Yeah. And sorry, anybody unfamiliar with intermittent fasting, when I say what's your window, just the time that you are allowed to eat in, right? So 1 to 6 for you. Yep. I often, and I'm actually going to be starting this again soon because I'm trying to get ripped for my wedding coming up.
There you go. Oh yeah, you got a wedding coming up in October or November.
Yes. My beautiful fiance Hunter and I just booked that. So yeah, that's one where, I do think it's okay to have a short-term goal, like a wedding, right? I want to look a specific way for that. I think that is totally fine, right? Some nutritionists, some dietitians will tell you, no, you kind of want to build for the long term.
Yep.
And yes, but, I would say I am in a spot right now where I feel pretty comfortable with the long-term plan. And there is a healthy way to lose, as much body fat as possible, getting down to a specific body fat percentage. There's pretty simple, easy math.
But it's not just how much weight you lose off of that. It's the benefits that you could get off that. I think that a lot of people don't understand.
Yes.
I mean,
Sorry, I bounce around so much.
I love this. This is why
there's so much I want to talk about too.
So with intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And I don't know the numbers, and I'm not going to ask you to either, but it's like after 3 days, that's where your body starts to reset itself. Is that what it is? Like the body's killing off the bad cells? Is it 3 days or is it longer? Or?
That process is called autophagy. Yeah. I don't know have you heard that? Yeah. This is where it depends on the person again. Somebody with a fast metabolism, somebody who the processes in your body happen quicker than others in comparison, that is going to be probably a 48 hours, right, rather than 72. Now, that's something I've experimented a lot with on myself. I used to do a 36-12 split. Yeah. So I would fast for 36 hours at a time. I would have that 12-hour eating window. and then another 36-hour fast, 12-hour, just continuous. And that wasn't sustainable. Now I lost like 15 or 12 or 15 pounds in like a month or two. So that's a little bit too quick, and that's probably a little unhealthy for most people. And I didn't necessarily feel good doing that, right? So again, person to person, somebody might feel amazing doing 36-12.
Yeah. It's usually that third day, at least for me.
Yeah.
So I've done quite a few 3 days.
I was going to say, I've only done a couple of the 60 or 72 hour fasts.
Okay.
And my experience is day one, not too bad. Day two, it's gonna, you're gonna start getting cranky. And then day three, depending on how many water or how much water and how much electrolytes you allow yourself, you're gonna be in either a flow state or just crashing. So, I mean, there are benefits, but there's probably some negatives you might experience with it too. And these are things we have to consider, and we kind of have to trial on you though, because we don't know how you're going to respond to it. And again, this is assuming you're a normal, healthy.
Because someone might come to you wanting to do this, and you're like, you can't because of this, and this.
Yes, I actually work with a couple patients right now that with diabetes. Right, there are certain things we can't do that are going to affect blood sugar in a negative way.
Of course,
that we're just not even going to play around with. So, yes, we need as much information at the beginning, and
one of our clients, Patty, she was on her podcast. That show's coming up to be released. But Patty and Dave, as well as myself and Julie, we were doing the intermittent fasting. I mean, me and Patty, I think I got the day 5 and was just this is without eating anything. So it wasn't intermittent fasting. This was just day 5 of not eating except for water and electrolytes. And then at day 5, I felt great. I only ate because I was bored.
Okay.
Julie was eating something for dinner. I think she made it 3 days. And I got to day 5, and I was trying to keep up with Patty. I think Patty made it to 7 days. And I got to day 5, and it was later in that evening, and I could have easily went to bed, woke up the next morning and hit day 6.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm bored. I'm going to grab something to eat since Julie's eating. I'm going to eat.
See,
but I wasn't hungry.
That's really interesting. I don't want to say most people won't experience that. That might be, specific to you, but I think there is going to be a phase you get to, right, where you're feeling just kind of like you don't need food, right? Like you're not even thinking about it.
The mental clarity was there.
Yes.
And the reason why I did, so everyone obviously does this for their own reason. Someone might do it just because they want to challenge themselves. So Alzheimer's runs in my family.
Okay.
And this is why I try to do everything that I can. And, there's some science behind some of this stuff, whether it's intermittent fasting, whether it's cold plunge, just about every day I'm going to cold plunge for, I would say anywhere from 4 to 10 minutes.
Nice.
And supposedly that has really good effects on your body. 1, your brown fat, attacking your brown fat. And then 2, mental clarity and helping with brain function.
Yeah.
So cold plunging, intermittent fasting, some of these things I do just because I'm like, hey, I'm going to do everything I possibly can do to potentially put off Alzheimer's since it runs in the family.
Yeah. That's where you and I are very similar too. I am for myself, kind of how I coach myself is all through the lens of brain health. You're thinking specifically Alzheimer's because that is the concern. I'm thinking, operating at the highest capacity that I can for as long as I can, and doing it so that I'm not sacrificing the rest of my body just to support my brain. That's another concern, right? We're entering a very digital age where, I guess with AI, we might not all be at computers anymore. It might just be AI agents, but when we're sitting more, when we're doing more desk jobs, there are less opportunities built into the day to move. So that's why these things need to become built into your day. And that's why I think it's great what you guys do here, where is it Wednesday mornings where you guys are going to the gym together?
Yeah. Wednesday mornings.
It needs to be built into the day so that you don't always have to rely on your willpower. So like same thing with food, we need to get your system in place. And something like intermittent fasting gives you a really clear structure and a really easy system to follow. So it ends up being a great option because, like you said, you're probably going to feel that mental clarity. Once you get through that initial, probably first week where it's kind of that hunger is still uncomfortable, you're going to be feeling like, oh, why didn't I this is so much easier. This is such an easier way to think about it. And again, that's, one person, the person right after them might love doing the 6 meals a day and their body operates incredible on that. And we can work with that, right? So we can work with anything. I'm not vilifying any food.
Yeah.
There's no bad food. We just need to be clear on what you're ingesting. What is that going to do to your body? What's
the purpose of that?
Yes. Yeah. What are you ultimately getting out of this? Pros and cons. Every food, every supplement, every injectable,
this is going for
anything.
Fuel. This is going straight to fat.
Yeah, exactly.
and then do I eat that or not? I can imagine structure is key. Like myself, I've never really lacked structure, but what I find out is what I've started doing, and I started doing this probably several months into 2025, is I've structured my morning because I know that's the time I have the most brain capacity. So literally, I wake up at 4, I go downstairs and I hop into cold plunge by 4:05. Because if not, I'm going to start thinking of ways or reasons why I don't need to go into cold plunge that day. I take my supplements, I go work out, whether it's in the garage gym or at the gym. And then I come into the office and I read whatever book I'm reading, so many pages, because I know I hate reading. So I've got to structure myself. If I don't do it, I'm not going to do it.
You get it done though, right?
Yes.
Now you have it in there. And so, yeah, that's where, and kind of like we were just talking about with Christina, it's the system that you put in place that is going to compound over time. Those decisions, you're going to see the effect down the road, right? And you might feel the effect sooner, but
I'm guessing when they see you, not only do they have a plan for nutrition, they have a workout plan, and then you're figuring out when's the best time for them to work out, whether it's morning, afternoons, or evenings.
Yeah.
So it's a more of a holistic plan that's encompassing multiple different things that they should be doing.
Yeah, that's where, again, I'd love digging into all the factors, and there's so many variables. There's so many things I want to talk about right now, but I think the most relevant thing, like just again with the financial world, like we're thinking long term when we're building wealth. And you want to make sure that the quality of your life is great during that, living your best life. So the way that I like to think about it is I use a car as an example. Like literally our body rusts, we oxidize, right? So, same as a car, the iron exposed to oxygen creates rust. It's not the exact same process, but it's essentially what's happening in our body. There are certain molecules that are reacting with oxygen and creating these free radicals or oxidants. And that's where you hear about antioxidants, right? Very good for you and your colorful foods, lots of different types of antioxidants. But if you could negate all of the oxidants in your body with an antioxidant or another route, you would be able to essentially pause your aging. So, we're not quite yet there. But again, we're thinking long term. This is something I think we should all be thinking about. Let's say in the next 5 years, we learn that you can extend your life and you can extend the functional years just by taking, this pill or this injectable. That might be coming up here. So
why wouldn't you do it?
What do you mean?
In general, like if you knew this, like if you knew if I just eat healthy, if I just went to the gym,
yes,
I could slow down my aging.
Yeah.
Maybe not stop it. I mean, you might be able to stop it in the future.
Yeah.
But if I could slow it down and I could give myself 5 extra years, that's 5 extra years with my grandkids.
Yeah.
And I don't have any now. I can't wait to have grandkids, but that's going to be 5 extra years I have my grandkids, 5 extra years I have my kids.
Yeah.
5 extra years of travel.
You're going to appreciate that so much, right? When you're able to, just go on a walk with your grandchildren and feel good doing it, enjoy doing it rather than,
So what would you say to like our clients? Our clients are anywhere from probably 50 to late 70s, right now. What's like one of the first things they can do? Besides just giving you a call, which I recommend you guys giving Aaron a call, but like what's one of the first things that something simple that they could just start with, because we need to build these blocks, right?
Yeah.
So I could start with just doing this and then maybe I add this in next. What would be a couple things?
I think one of the easiest things, and going back to where I said we're going to start by adding things, I think one of the best things you can do, and it's becoming easier to find, is just add supplemental protein. I think protein powders, whether you like a plant-based or whether you like a whey protein, casein protein, whatever you feel best on, just adding a protein shake, just upping your protein intake by 25 to 35 grams. See what effect that has on your body. Most people are going to experience an increase in metabolism. You're probably going to be able to retain more muscle. You're probably going to feel less fatigued. So I think that's one where usually beneficial for everybody. And I'm not saying, put that in place of something. I'm saying find somewhere in your day where you can add that comfortably and try it, right? Try it consistently for a week, see how you feel. I'm right now taking a protein shake at night, a casein protein, a slower digesting where, I'm going to be able to build muscle all night. So there's ways we can manipulate these systems too. So like you said,
I
ultimately,
take them all the time.
I
have to fill in.
Right. And I think some supplements are almost never necessary. I think protein supplements are almost always necessary.
And you said there's multiple kinds of protein. So if you do have a milk allergy, there's something else for it.
Yes. And that's obviously I can help you parse through that. But that's, we have a lot of information. We have access to a lot of information right now. Yeah, you can find
But that's why they got to call you, because I have all this information. It's information overload.
Yeah.
All right. I have all this sitting in front of me, and someone's going to sit here on this podcast. One of the listeners is going to say, I could just go to AI. You can, but you have all this information, and then you're like, well, where do I start? And what's the right thing for me? It still comes back to having a coach to be able to tell you, based off your body type, based off of this, the medications that you're on, this is what's right for you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like AI can provide a plan for you. It can give you that, outline of, this is the exact number of grams of protein you're going to want to eat to build muscle, or this is the exact number of calories you're going to want to eat to lose this amount of weight in this amount of time. I use it for that as well, right? Like as that kind of calculator, right? When we're deciphering these things. But ultimately I don't think we're yet at the point where AI can coach, right? It can, it's somebody that's been through this experience, somebody who's experimented with these things. Yeah. Part of the reason I want to talk to you about where I should put my money and what I should do with it is because I trust you. I respect your knowledge. Yes, I'm going to look at AI to see what it says, but I'm going to go with your advice, right? So that's, again, maybe in the future there's a robot that can do what I do. Exactly. But I think you want somebody who has gone through that experience.
Personal connection.
Yeah, right. And it's just, we have the kind of same, we all have very different goals, right? Like I might, like this year, I'm going to try to lose as much body fat as possible. I'm going to try to get to the lowest number I possibly can. That's not right for everybody. That's not necessarily healthy. And, there's probably a healthy way for everybody to do that, but let's look at the stage of life. Let's look at why you're doing that. And maybe I need to look at my why, right? But no, I think
everyone's why is different.
Yeah, it is. And
so you've got protein. What would be a next step, do you think?
Well, I think it's really hard to kind of find things that everybody is going to benefit from.
Mm-hmm. Would you say it's just some sort of exercise or?
Yeah, I think.
Could be walking, could be anything.
That's how I want to phrase it, is it needs to be some sort of movement. Yeah. You have to get movement daily. Our bodies were built to move. Mm-hmm. We used to be hunter-gatherers, and we were covering miles daily. So our body is so well adapted to that. That's something I want to highlight too. I think we are way more adaptable than we generally think we are. We think,
Agree.
We have a certain way of doing things, and this is how I operate, and this is how I am, this is what I am. Now, we can adapt to any
put ourselves in this box.
Yeah. Your cells are, every 5 to 8 years, you kind of have a completely new body, right? You have almost completely new cells. Are you familiar with the ship of Theseus?
Yes.
Okay. So, you're not thinking different necessarily, but you have an opportunity, over the next, let's say 5 to 10 years, to have completely new cells. So how do you want to build those?
One of the things I like about when I was doing that, not only intermittent fasting, but when I fasted for 5 days, 7 days, you're pretty much, taking and switching out the bad cells and bringing in whole new cells. It's almost like you're an infant again.
Yes. That's where you can, again, we can manipulate these systems, and you can get the benefit of autophagy, that kind of long-term cell replacement. We can get that faster. So again, depending on what benefit you get out of that, we'll implement. But yeah, movement, like I was saying with the hunter-gatherers, we have to get some sort of movement. It can be anything. Mm-hmm. Find something that you enjoy. I know you enjoy going to the gym. Yeah. I enjoy a lot of calisthenic workouts. So anything that you like, pickleball, golf, walking, it just has to be consistent, right? And it has to be using as many muscles as possible, because you don't use a muscle, it is going to atrophy.
Yeah. And you don't have to go to a gym. No. You can do a lot of things from home, squats, walking.
Yes.
And if you can only walk 50 yards, by next week, maybe it's 100 yards.
Yeah. Enzo actually just saw me do 20 squats before we started to get my blood flowing to my brain. You can do little things throughout the day. And that's where, we can't have this fully walkable society everywhere in America. So we're not going to have walking, built into our day like they do in Europe in general, right? So we need to find ways to build that movement into the day, right? Create a system that again, you're not always relying on willpower. But if you can walk to work every day, wonderful. Do it. It's built in. You're going to get that every day. So yeah, I don't want to be overwhelming and say like, you have to exercise every day, but your body is expecting to move every day. Yeah. And same, again, the car example, you let a car sit for too long, it's not going to start up again, right? It's going to rust out. There's going to be tons of problems that you have to fix before you can ultimately get it running again. So if you keep yourself moving, you keep yourself running, same idea.
I feel much better when I'm jogging.
Yeah.
Like if I've jogged for a month straight, I just feel so much better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I got to ask you, so blood work. How important is blood work? How do you use the blood work that you get back? And recently, Julie and myself, this was last year, went to more of a holistic doctor, natural doctor. And the blood work was a lot more extensive than our personal doctor was doing for us. And it actually uncovered a couple things. It uncovered that Julie had thyroid cancer, and it uncovered that I had Lyme's disease.
Wow.
And so, that when we started looking back at things like this all makes sense, but this was missed on our primary doctor's blood work. So how important is blood work when it comes into what you do?
Well, I think you just gave a perfect example of why it's incredibly important. I am more on the interpretation side. So a lot of the time I'll have a client bring me their blood work that they got done either at their primary doctor or their holistic doctor. And we'll just take a look together, right? Does it make sense, that this number is where it is when you were fasting? Okay, great. Let's kind of move on. But yeah, that's something I think if we could get blood work every 6 months, that's kind of a really good indication of where you're at and what the changes have actually done to the baseline of your body. So I would encourage anybody that has the resources to do so, if you can get blood work every 6 months, very helpful to you. Now that's obviously something you want to interpret with your doctor, with your holistic doctor, with your health coach. But that's what I love digging into, because there are things that maybe aren't highlighted or aren't out of the reference range, but they're at an extreme on the far end of the spectrum. That is still relevant, right? To me at least, right? It might not be clinically relevant to put you on a medication, but it's relevant as a puzzle piece, right? There are all these puzzle pieces we got to collect and put together. And it takes a while to do that, but yeah.
I know I've talked to some people and mentioned going there, and they said, well, my insurance doesn't cover it. And I said, well, but your insurance isn't going to cover the $10 that you just spent at Starbucks, right? It's an investment in our body. It's an investment in our well-being. And this is how we have to look at this, like blood work, going to see Aaron, starting up at the gym. Yeah, these are all investments that we have to make, but it's an investment into ourselves and allowing us to live longer and think better and more clarity in our life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was, it might've been Huberman that I got this from, but he said anything that is going to benefit your body or benefit your mind long-term, that's worth it. That's worth it as an investment. Any personal development, any way you can improve yourself, your mind, that is almost always going to be worth it, right? Absolutely. That's where we should be, spending some of our extra money is and really what I would say is let's look at our priorities. Why aren't you investing in your health, right? I would love for everybody to talk to, a classic primary doctor, holistic doctor.
Yeah. And they will even say the same thing, at least ours.
Yeah. A lot of the time
will have both said there's nothing wrong with seeing both.
Exactly.
And they'll even tell you, like our holistic doctor said, now this is what I want you to make sure that your primary doctor understands or knows and mention this to them and vice versa.
Yeah. And that's where, like, I think ideally you would have both perspectives. You would have, a third party perspective, that has, experience in this. So yeah, I mean, we can't always get that ideal situation. So again, we're just going for as close as we can get to ideal, as close as we can get to perfect. And that really, like you said, the investment in your health, long-term, you're going to appreciate it. It's that delayed gratification. We're not going to see for, 30, 20, 10 years, but yeah, it's going to be worth it. So
it's just like investing. Yeah. You're investing today a small amount for the future. So like, what would you say, one of our listeners gives you a call, walk them through like the process. I know you said the initial meeting takes like 2 to 3 hours, but beyond that, like how often are you working with them?
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'm a little bit different. I know that I'm not going to be able to have as many clients as, another nutritionist, because I need to spend a lot more time, and we're going to figure it out. So when I say 2 to 3 hours, I mean, it could be a quick 45 minutes and we figure it out. It's clear, it's simple. It could be 4 hours. We're getting into everything. So it just kind of depends on, obviously I'll ask you how much time you have, but, what we'll kind of first do is introduce ourselves to each other, kind of see, your general daily schedule, your general, I have kind of an intake form where I need to know medications and supplements first and kind of what we can do within those lines. So there would be kind of that, just initial information gathering. I would then kind of talk to you about what you've done in the past. And we're kind of just building this full story of you. And I want to get into everything. So if that takes 4 hours, fine. But then I have the actual information to get you somewhere, to get you going in a direction. And that's where I really love it. And everybody that I've worked with so far has loved it, where there is a little bit of that trial and error. So we're going to try a few things. We might start with something. We're almost always going to adjust or tweak or try something else just to see how you respond. But yeah, that kind of initial meeting, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that kind of initial meeting, you're going to see if I'm somebody you like working with. Do you like the way I like to do things? If not, then that's fine.
Let's part as friends.
Yeah. I mean, if I do go on some tangents. I do get a little excited about a few ideas. So
this is what you love doing.
Yes. And if you need kind of that driving force, that coaching, I can do that. Right. If you need kind of more of that therapy session, which a lot of the time in weight loss, I think there's a much larger psychological component, but a lot of the time it ends up just being a therapy session, for hour and a half. And, I'm simply here to kind of help guide you in what to do next based on the data that you have. So, that's always how it's going to work. Is we're going to look at the data. We're going to look at the data of the past month or the past week or the past day, and see what went right, what went wrong.
I sit down.
Yeah.
We have this conversation. You're getting to the root why I'm in my current state.
Yeah.
Right. Your recommendations come in. I'm starting to implement these. Now, after you've given me kind of my nutrition plan, you've given me my exercise plan, how often are we meeting?
So I don't want to say that I necessarily give it a set plan, because it's
What's ever changing.
Yes, right. It's kind of going to be that working document.
Yeah. But are we working together on a weekly basis, several days a week? How does that?
So again, this is where I am so independent. Like, how do I want to say this?
Kind of whatever someone needs, I'm guessing.
Yes, I want to fill the gap that you're missing. So, a lot of guys that I work with aren't so much looking for the strength training help. We're just looking at macros a lot of the time. Yeah. That's great. We can do that. It just depends on what you need, what you have done in the past, what you think you need, and what we can do from there. So
there's no cookie cutter approach. Every size.
No. I mean, there are patients that I have a quick call with daily. There are patients that I meet with monthly.
Okay.
So it just depends on what you need. If you need that close monitoring, a lot of the weight loss patients that I've worked with in the past, you want somebody there kind of all the time to kind of keep you within the lines, within the guide rails when you feel like you're going to fall off the wagon. That's super beneficial. Somebody else might, we need 2-3 weeks to see the effect. And so we'll meet 2 to 3 weeks out. But that's where I have the flexibility to fit within your schedule. And, we can have a 5-minute call. We can have a quick checkup. I can give you that quick boost. But that, again, is person to person. So I know that doesn't give you a clear answer there, but
the answer is it depends.
Yeah,
it depends on your situation, what you're looking for, and how I could help.
Yeah, and I want to have fun with it too. So, I do apologize if I make light of anything or take things too lightly, but I think the benefit you get out of bringing some humor to all of these very serious topics, or just bringing a smile to the conversation. It is beneficial for your brain, right? You are getting a positive benefit. You are getting a dopamine release, serotonin. So, I hate saying that, but it does depend. It depends on the person.
I think one thing I could definitely tell, and I think listeners could tell, is that you enjoy what you do.
Yes, that's
key.
I need to slow down sometimes because I want to get into all of it, and there's so much more that I want to talk about. I would love to come back sometime.
Absolutely.
There's a million more things that we could get into right now. But,
one of the things I wanted to ask, for some of the clients that you work with that are very similar, that 50 to 70 range.
Yeah.
What separates that you see their success from those that fail? Because we're always going to have someone who isn't listening or isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing and is not going to have that success rate that someone else does.
Yeah.
So is it effort? What would you say it would be?
I think it's the willingness to try something new. There's going to be a lot of new things you're going to have to try to optimize your diet, your exercise routine, your sleep routine. If you have that willingness and you keep that positive mindset of, okay, well, now I know that doesn't work for me. Awesome. I have an extra data point that is helpful, right? We have to cross things off the list. So
don't look at it as failure. Look at it as we're one step closer to getting to what
exactly
is going to be working for you.
Yeah. And that is literally what it is in this situation. Right. And yeah, there's not also that many times where we're experimenting and trying all of these different drastic changes. It's usually, what you feel good on, what doesn't make you feel bloated, what doesn't inflame your skin, right? Mm-hmm. So knowing that, we're going to start working off of that, and it's usually going to be tweaks. It's usually going to be, you're probably going to feel better 20 grams of protein higher, or you're probably going to feel better taking a half of a multivitamin, so it's different and specific recommendations based on the person. But really, as long as you are willing to try something new, to just put that effort in for yourself, we're going to make it happen. I will get you there. Right. Yep. But for people in general, keep that willingness to try new things. There is I'm kind of obsessed with the idea that there is a perfect diet for everyone.
Just have to get there.
Yeah. And that might be a goal that we never actually achieve, right? I might not ever have the exact specific right amounts of everything. That is really difficult, but we can always strive to get closer and closer and closer. And that's where it's kind of a weird field, right? Because it's like there's not an exact right answer for everyone. There is an exact right answer for you. And that's what we're going to be working
trying to get towards that.
Yeah.
I think everyone is looking for that secret sauce.
Yeah.
And that's in any business or in any life skill. I want to lose weight. What's a secret sauce? Well, there's several different things that you have to do. There's not just one thing that's going to help you get there. It's several different things. And that might not be the perfect thing either, but it's going to at least better your situation than you're currently in now.
Yes. Yeah. And that's I should be careful saying things like perfect or ideal. Really, we want to make sure.
Chemistry wise, there is. Yes. It's just a matter of figuring out what that is.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting chemistry pieces that I'm always thinking about, and why this is going to make sense. But really, it's more about how you feel and how you look. Are you happy with that? Yeah. Right?
Because you don't have to get perfect.
Yeah.
If you feel good and you look good, and that is, it's increased your energy, and you feel comfortable in that position.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. And that's again, where if you have a specific goal, like I do right now, I have a short-term goal. Yeah. I've got, 9 months to try to drop body fat. But, if you have something like that, that is okay. Let's find a healthy way to do it. Uh-huh. Let's find a way to do it that's actually going to be a springboard for you after to kind of continue in that. But yeah, as long as you are aware that there is always kind of something better that you can be doing, just keep trying, right? Okay. We're gonna get there. It's just you have to keep that mindset the whole time of we're continuously improving. That's difficult.
Generally in life, we're trying to get better every day.
Yes.
Before we end, I have some rapid fire questions for you.
All right.
But before we do rapid fire questions, because I know this is a hot topic too, creatine.
Oh yeah.
I take creatine, and there's different ways you could take creatine, but what's the advantage for someone in their 50s, 60s, 70s for taking creatine?
So creatine, I do use before workouts. I use it more as a cognitive enhancer though. Mm-hmm. I find that I can recall words quicker, and maybe this is just for me again, mm-hmm. right? This is anecdotal. But creatine in general is kind of that cellular energy, right? It gives the internal part of your cell, the mitochondria, energy. So it's a more, how do I want to say it? Any cell that needs to do anything, which is every cell,
yes,
is already using ATP, right? Mm-hmm. And you need to replace. This is where I'm going to get just not fun in chemistry, but
that's all right.
You need to donate that phosphate. You need to replace the phosphate. Essentially, creatine is just allowing you to do more work, right? Whether that's thought or physical.
Building muscle
movement, right? So I think it makes your workouts easier, and it can really help your brain, right? So now it's we want to be careful too, because the form that it comes in, there's the two common ones are monohydrate, creatine monohydrate, and creatine hydrochloride. And then the dosing of those two, that matters almost
Which I've seen
more.
those like change over the years. It seems like now some people are saying you could actually take a little more than what they first anticipated.
Yeah, there has been some newer case studies and newer information where some people are using creatine, like they'll take a 20-gram dose of monohydrate, not even as a loading phase, but more as a I didn't get enough sleep. My brain is shot. That is kind of going to be the replacement for, what your body would normally be replacing during your sleep. So, and now there's another piece to this too, because we get creatine in our diet. We get, I think, like an 8-ounce steak, for example, has it's like 2 or 3 grams of creatine in it. So we do get dietary creatine. It's not necessarily something you have to supplement with, but to see those kind of short-term effects, like getting rid of that groggy feeling in the morning, or enhancing, how you feel, how strong you feel during a workout. We just need to be careful about the dose, right? I'm always thinking kidneys and liver, right? We don't want to put too much extra stress ever on them.
Which that's what my markers came back, that my kidneys were a little showing that I had a little running high on creatine. And I take a lot of it, and my doctor knows why. First, I started off just because I'm working out.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing the mental effects of it.
Yeah.
And studies that were done with potentially helping slow down or eliminate the chance of potentially getting Alzheimer's from taking the creatine.
Yeah.
And along with the cold plunge and everything else, I said, let me add this to what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think that was information from like an N. Haynes study, a longitudinal study.
Yep.
But that was dietary creatine, right? So that's what I want to, remind everybody of, is you're already getting creatine in your diet.
In the foods you're eating.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's like anything else. We're getting less nutrition in our food because it's processed. It's this, it's that, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of those nutrients are being stripped away from what we're eating. So this is why it's so important to eat clean or get the supplements that we're lacking.
Yeah. And that actually goes back to kind of what you had asked earlier on, your clients here, that 50 to 70 range, things that everybody is going to benefit from. I mean, creatine I would include in that. Now, the dose that a person should take is going to be different. So that's one, consult somebody, a doctor, whatever.
Get your blood work done.
Yes.
You can see how low you are or how high you are.
Let's take a look at your, creatinine markers in your kidneys and, kind of what is a safe range to put you in. But yeah, that's one. Creatine, things that we are generally low in, things that our food supply is generally low in, along with creatine, things like magnesium, vitamin D, and omega-3s, EPA and DHA specifically. Those are things that almost everybody is going to have some sort of deficiency
Especially
in.
living in Michigan. No sun for 4 months.
Yeah. I take twice as much vitamin D in the winter here. But yeah, that's where I take those. And when I take them matters a lot, right? So I take magnesium more so for sleep. Okay. But I've also found, in the studies that I've read, magnesium deficiency can manifest as depression. So just for the mental benefit of not being predisposed to depression, I'm going to make sure that I have enough magnesium.
Magnesium in you.
Yeah. And that's something, yes, we can get all of these things from our diet, but generally, we aren't.
Especially
we aren't
vitamin D.
Vitamin D, almost nobody is. There's a lot of controversy around this where the recommended daily might be lower than what we actually.
I agree. I've seen studies that, and I can't cite any of this, but going back to COVID, and one of the reasons why they said the African American population had higher death numbers or death percentages that died from COVID was lack of vitamin D, especially in the northern states, and also because it's hard for their skin. It's harder for their skin, being dark complected, to soak in the vitamin D.
Yeah.
And it was something very simple, like, hey, if the vitamin D levels were higher, those statistics would have changed. They thought drastically in this study. Now there's other things in there. There's health. There's, how old you were. What's the conditions that that you're in. All different things. But they said just simple thing like vitamin D, how it could change people's lives.
This is again anecdotal, but I used to get sick all the time as a kid. Like I would get, 2 to 3 colds or flus in the winter. And since I started taking supplemental vitamin D3, I haven't really, but I haven't really been, like one of those really nasty knock you out kind of colds or flus. So, maybe my body is predisposed to being low and, I feel better. My immune system functions better when I supplement with it. So that's one though, generally speaking, again, vitamin D, magnesium, omega-3s, creatine, protein. Yeah. Everybody's going to get benefit out of these. Dose matters. So let's be careful with that. Sure. But beyond that, those are things that I think we can all kind of safely begin to experiment with. I would love to be part of that process, but
Let me ask you these rapid fire questions. So,
yeah, please.
Most underrated health habit. Underrated health habit.
For people in general, I think the blue light blocking at night, you don't realize how much of a difference it makes. So people will get the blue light blocking glasses and start wearing them in the evening, like starting at 6 or 7. I think getting your circadian rhythm back on.
So is that hour before bedtime stop or what?
Really the real number would be when the sun goes down.
Okay.
So that's probably going to be, that depends on the day of the year, but
sure.
What I'm saying more so is, closer to dinner time, closer to 6 or 7, that
further away, the better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about most overrated diet trend?
Overrated. Ooh. I'm going to say, well, again, I can see the benefit and the negative of all of them right now, but I think going vegan or vegetarian. Now that does sound controversial, but a lot of people are going to benefit from them. You know what? No, because that's not really a trend.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm walking you through my thought process here, but one that I thought was kind of dangerous. In general, is probiotics.
Okay.
I don't know if
we heard a lot about it for a while.
Yeah, and it's like, again, why? Why are we putting additional bacteria strains in our body? Right. Do you know for a fact that you are low in those bacteria strains?
Just heard it on TV.
No, yeah, I heard this one was going to be good, and you feel more regular, whatever. Yeah. Probiotics, these are living organisms. We need to be very careful with strain, amount you're putting in your body. And I want to be very clear on differentiating probiotics and prebiotics.
Two
right?
totally different things, yes.
Prebiotics being the fiber or the food that the bacteria feeds on. Probiotics being the actual bacteria. Let's just be a little more careful, right?
Yep. I agree.
That's one I would say is generally
Okay.
overrated.
How about what's one food most people should eat more of?
See, I'm so nervous to make any blanket statement, but everybody should eat more of something very high antioxidant.
Okay.
I am a huge proponent of maxing out your antioxidants. So what that means is your colorful fruits, your colorful vegetables, but the highest total antioxidant capacity food. Do you know what it is?
No.
It's pinto beans.
Really? I used to eat a lot of pinto beans.
This is
as a
one
child.
of the weirdest ones, but pinto beans actually have a higher TAC, total antioxidant capacity, than black beans. And those two are kind of the highest. So I would say have more beans. Don't be afraid of beans, lentils.
Yeah.
The antioxidants.
I would have never guessed the pinto beans.
Isn't that one blew me away too? Because you always hear black beans, and it even makes sense color wise. But that is when they did there's this table of all of the foods TAC, all of general foods, right? We're talking black beans, we're talking apples, not specific brands or types, but that's where,
Pinto beans. Pinto beans it is.
It's a really weird one, but pinto beans, I would say beans and lentils in general. Antioxidants, though, is the main message, right? Everybody should be getting more antioxidants.
Okay.
That's the only blanket statement I'm comfortable making there.
All right. How about what's one habit that gives the biggest payoff after age 50?
Ooh.
One habit.
I think if we're talking 50 plus, it's the exercise, right? Keeping the engine moving, keeping the engine running, like not letting yourself fall out of that routine of movement. So again, not saying that your nutrition doesn't matter, but
got to start somewhere.
Yeah, for kind of that age range. Typically, I mean, what you're seeing is a natural decline in movement, right? Unless you're putting emphasis on it, generally you're going to
higher percentage of people are moving less.
You're going to be moving less. So if your calories, if your energy intake, your food intake doesn't come down at the same rate, you're gonna have problems, right? So I think the best thing you can actually do is keep that movement the same or as close to, what you were used to doing. If that's, walking a mile every day, that's fantastic. If you can keep doing that, you're just setting yourself up so much better in every way. So I think specifically for that age range, exercise movement has one of the biggest impacts.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So my last question I have to ask you, because this is the Live Your Best Life podcast. How do you define living your best life? What is living your best life to you?
I wrote down so many notes, but this is the one where, I mean, we're exactly in lockstep, I think, in how we define this. But you tell me. What I say is, we don't get to decide when we leave this earth. We do get to decide everything else in between, right? All of the decisions you make, right? What do you want that to say about you? So living your best life is kind of that mindset of constant optimization, right? So we're probably, again, never going to get that perfect everything, perfect meal timing, supplement timing. But living your best life, as long as you're striving to do that, you're going to feel so much better physically. You're going to feel better about yourself mentally, and it's going to just open up the rest of the world for you, right? When your limiting factor is not your health, the world is so much bigger. So again, this is the base of living your best life, I believe. And if we can get you feeling good, you looking how you want to look, confident, energetic, that is your best life, right? It's in there somewhere, and we're going to figure it out together.
We're going to help them out.
Parse through it. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. There's only one thing I forgot to mention to you.
Oh.
So your wedding date.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
I know you went to Michigan State.
Yes.
However, there's a big game on that same wedding date.
Yeah. That was part of the conversation.
So we just have to make sure that you have a TV there, because I'm a huge Ohio State Buckeye fan. We're going to have a lot of Michigan fans there.
I would like to officially confirm there will be a TV at the wedding.
All right. Just not during the ceremony. But
no. Not in the church, but at the reception. Yes, absolutely.
All right. That sounds good. When Hunter told me that, I said, do you know what weekend that is? And she was like, no.
I said, this might be a problem for a few people, but she was like, maybe those are the people we don't want coming. No, I'm joking, but yeah, that's coming up, and that's going to be fun. So.
That's exciting. That's exciting. The countdown is on. I'm very excited for you and Hunter.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We appreciate you being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, everyone, hopefully you guys got some value out of today, and start thinking about your nutrition, your longevity, your health, and how you could just better yourself overall and your family. So looking forward to talking with you guys all next week. New topic, new person we'll be interviewing, and hope you're out there living your best life. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. If this episode sparked something in you or made you realize it's time to stop guessing and start planning, we'd love to meet with you. No matter where you are, no matter when you start, you deserve to live your best life. We'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends and your family. Remember, living your best life isn't a destination, it's a decision. And it's a decision that you get to choose. Until next time, stay well, stay informed, and keep living boldly.
Investment advisory services offered through Strategic Wealth Advisors Group, Incorporated, a Securities and Exchange Commission registered investment advisor. Content contained herein is for informational purpose only and is not intended and should not be construed as personalized investment advice or an offer for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided may be obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness.